Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama. Call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. We always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you.
CMR has reached an incredible milestone of having the #1 talk show and being the people's #1 choice for news. We would like to wholeheartedly thank you, our loyal listeners and followers, for making this possible. This is going to be an amazing year of continued growth and acceleration, and we would like for you to be a part of the journey. If you have a company that's struggling to reach your targeted customer base, why not reach out to CMR's sales team? With over 200,000 followers on both Instagram and Facebook, your message will be more impactful by advertising with us. Speak to a sales specialist today about all of the ways in which we can help you elevate your game to the next level. Email us on sales@CaymanMarlRoad.com or call 324-1612 for a consultative meeting.
What are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine, everybody. Time to get up. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in the Cayman Islands. We are live and direct. Yes, honey child. Right here from the beautiful district of, technically, we're in Bordentown, Savannah, Newlands, Windsor Park, Washington Boulevard, folks. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing this morning? Whoa, 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 whoa. Looks like we need to make some camera adjustments, honey child. Oh, hold on now. Hold on. Did the camera actually get moved a little bit? Hold on. We're going to sort it. Wrong way. We're going to sort it out. And I think it needs to go down a little bit. Oh my goodness. Let's make, nope, down the wrong way. Up. There we go. Make some adjustments a little bit there. There. Good morning, good folks. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a fabulous week so far. Lots going on that we're going to be talking about today. We got a Truthful Tuesday segment. I was like, you know what? We haven't done one of these in a while. You know what else we haven't done? We haven't done a consumer day where we try to help you get your money back and all that good stuff. So I'm thinking we're overdue for one of those. So maybe we will do that on Friday. So this week now we have quite a few things going on I'm going to be sharing with you guys. But on Thursday, Health City Cayman Islands is actually going to be opening their new facility in Cayman Bay. So this is like the official ribbon cutting opening, but of course they actually won't do the opening of the facility, I think, for like another month to give people the ability to tour the facility and so forth. So we will be there on Thursday morning. It's kind of difficult when they do these things early in the morning, but of course, they want to get it done before the sun is out and makes people hot and bothered. So I totally understand the timing. So what that means for us is that unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do a show on Thursday because I can't yet clone myself, although I suspect that's coming. All this AI stuff I see going on, I suspect it's only a matter of time before we're going to do that, because trust me, the cloning is next level. Not the cloning, but the AI features are really next level. I'm starting to try to learn a little bit more about AI. I think I've been hesitant because, let's admit it, we're afraid of what we don't understand and what we don't know. And I'm going to be the first to admit, in this instance, I'm a little bit apprehensive because I'm still like an 80s and 90s kid. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about, remember all those movies that we used to watch of what the future, Terminator, and what the future holds, where the dawn of the machine, the rise of the machines take over. Well, I think they're starting to take over, but like in a different kind of way, but still apprehensive nonetheless. So I'm a little bit, it's taken me a minute. And then whenever I talk to my friends, especially in the world of IT, who already have started to immerse themselves in all things AI, and they're like, Sandy, look at what I can do and how my job is easier and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. I can see the real world application of it and how it can be so incredibly useful. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me send out the links to everyone this morning. Give me one quick second. It's like the whole WhatsApp thing. I was telling you guys last week, I've set up a WhatsApp channel and I'm going to move my people in the notification list over to the channel so that you guys can just follow the channel. It saves me time because how it worked before is you'd have to message me, request to be added to the list. Now, if I just give you the link, or you should be able to search for CMR as well on your channels. You're able to just follow it on your own. And I don't have to save you to my phone. Like I don't have to do all that stuff. So I think probably next week, I'm going to start to phase out my notification list where everything is just going to go to the one location. There's also limitations with the notification list that the channel kind of takes care of. So yeah, these are the things now we gotta keep up, folks, and get with the times. We can't let the times leave us behind. That's just simply not how it works anymore. I'm sure it never did, but it was easier to not entirely feel left behind because, the world wasn't moving at such a fast pace. Technology wasn't developing at such a fast pace. Now it's like everywhere. Healthcare, general business, every industry, I feel like is being impacted by all these sorts of technological advances. There are probably very few industries where you can remain stagnant and expect to see any benefits or any growth potential. So even in the world of media, I'm trying to keep up, and I can see how in 5 years, AI will change so much of what we do. Just yesterday, I think it was, I was reading, might have been over the weekend, I was reading a headline about, I think it's the New York Times, is going to start using AI to generate their headlines. And I thought, that's interesting, because we struggle with headline, like what headlines to use all the time. It is extremely challenging. And, some people have more of a knack for writing headlines than other people. And I always have this discussion with Renee. So she struggles a lot of times with headlines. And I have probably a little bit, from an SEO perspective, which is like where you try to get it within a certain range to, there's certain criteria, right, to get your SEO score higher. And your SEO score is related to, how easy it is for people to like find the article, how much penetration it's going to get online and all that sort of stuff. I can do it a lot easier to get it within the the green, like this is a good title. And she's always struggled with it. Like sometimes she'll send me like, okay, Sandy, this is the story. Do you have any suggestions in terms of titles? And I'll say to her, yeah, go ahead and try this one or try that one. And then when she plugs it in, it has a little bit of a better success. So to think that artificial intelligence could actually be creating titles for me. And of course, the benefit of the artificial intelligence is that it's going to already know the perimeters that are needed, or parameters, however you want to pronounce it, that are needed in order to get a higher score. But you've always got to have a human eye looking over these things, I feel like, right? Because getting a higher score can meet certain technical marks to get the higher score, but then there might be other reasons why you might not want to use a particular headline. So this is where it's at, honey Jill. I'm just trying to keep up with the news. And it's so interesting that one day we're going to be able to do AI-based news stories in the sense that like newscasters will be replaced by AI persons. AI influencers are already a thing. They're not even real. And they're gaining lots and lots of followers. And it's difficult for people to look at them and determine whether they actually are real or not. There's like these dance challenges. I don't know if you've seen them like on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, where it'll be like, okay, India versus America. And one of them is actually not even a real person. And a lot of times you cannot tell which is which. It's mind-blowing, to be honest. And it has a lot of like implications in terms of like legislation and, somebody's getting sued right now, sorry, over some sort of copyright situation. I can't remember all the details, but it directly has to do with AI generated music and all this kind of stuff. I mean, the implications are like next level. So I said to myself, I need to get on board, honey child. Let me see. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna get left behind if you don't. So I was reading something yesterday. Not yesterday, this was actually a couple of days ago. Someone sent me this. I can't remember who sent it to me actually. On I'm trying to remember. It was on Instagram. Oh, it was Everything 345. And what is so funny is I like the guys. I know Jason quite well, actually. He's always doing deliveries and other stuff for me. He's cool. And he's been enjoying the fruits of my mango tree, I understand. He's discovered that these East Indian mangoes are nice and that I don't really eat them. So I have lots of mangoes. So he's been coming, oh, you got any mangoes? And then I don't know why Stacy made him try her smoothie, but all of a sudden he's like, oh man, can I get some smoothie? And are you gonna make any juice? And she was like, boy, go make your own juice. Here's the recipe. Here's how you do it. But Marlon really enjoys the juice. It's like mango, I think, and orange mixed together, all natural fruit juice, So the smoothies are more my thing. I love the smoothies. Really, really good. But I was going to say that I sometimes watch what they do, but really it's people tend to send me stuff, because when I say that I don't really have a lot of time, especially with local media, like I got to choose what I'm going to read. There's only 24 hours in the day. And honestly, there's only so much stuff that I can read and I can absorb and take in. There are days that it's a little bit challenging for me to I'm going to read local media as well as everything else that I have to do. And I just don't do it. The other reason why I don't do it isn't always just a time thing, but a lot of times I don't want to be influenced by something that I read elsewhere. Sorry. And so Like if I know that, okay, this is a story that we need to be working on, that we need to write, you know, if you read something, your brain tends to retain what you've just read, and it wants to actually regurgitate or share that, not even intentionally, right? And so I'm very cognizant of trying to be careful about that sort of thing. So someone sent me a post last week. I'm just trying to go on Instagram. I think it was that was on their page, where somebody was like, oh, you know, we need to bring back the TV station. We miss TV so much. I thought it was interesting because we've had this discussion before. You guys know that we've had this discussion here if you're paying attention. And it's not the sort of thing that it's worth a discussion. And we've had the discussion about it. And the problem with it is that there are a lot of reasons not to do it in this day and age, and not sufficient reasons to do it. So you have to really, this goes to my point this morning of trying to be relevant and keeping up with technology, because everywhere else in the world, they are to some extent transitioning away from traditional TV. In fact, last week during the hurricane, a lot of you will know that I actually went on ABC. I did 3 interviews. I did one with a Belize TV station, and I did ABC online in the morning. And then for the evening show, I actually did ABC New York. And I was so incredibly intrigued and curious at how they were able to bring me into the studio from the back end. Like I got to see things that obviously you guys would not have seen. So this is not a traditional where people are actually going to studio anymore and sitting down and being interviewed. That's happening far less and less in terms of production and television content. What you find is it's just like how people come into the show. They come in virtually into the show. They're just a bit more sophisticated, because on the back end, they had technicians who were messaging me. They were messaging me on WhatsApp, by email. They're like, okay, here's the link. This is what you do. Da 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 da. I could hear their production team through my headset saying, okay, let's do a mic check now. Go ahead and speak for me. The first one, the guy was so funny. He's like, oh my God, your sound is the best. And I was like, really? He's like, yes, because unlike most of my guests, you actually have a professional microphone in front of you. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay. And then he was like, I want you to move this way a little bit, this way. Okay, there, that's the perfect framing, all sorts of stuff. I could hear them in the background. I could actually see the back end for their guests, who was actually getting her makeup and stuff touched up and done. So, they still have her kind of like in a studio area where there are other people attending to her. The young lady, I forget her name now, but the young lady who was actually doing that news segment and doing the interviews and whatever. And then they've got, I'm sure they have still a team of people who are bringing in all the different elements for the interview. So it was super interesting. And I could see the segments that they covered before I came on board. And then obviously when they got to me, they're like, okay, you're 1 minute out now. So I could hear all the producers in the background. On this program, we're bare bones, honey child. Unfortunately, we do not have any producers. And I do know that there are people who do a show like this, because sometimes I'm in online groups and I see them asking for like, oh, is there anybody who wants to produce my show? But most of these channels are like like a one man, one woman team. And so, they're begging people to do it for free. Most people ain't got time to produce your show for free. Sorry, but it ain't going to happen. Some people might want to do it like, oh, if they want to get work experience or whatever, maybe. So there are challenges of cost and other things that also make it a little bit prohibitive. But I thought the question was interesting. Like I said, we have certainly discussed a reboot of a TV station before, but the realities of it is that there's no money in traditional TV news. So I don't know when people say, oh, Can't we get something like, I'm just trying to find the question again. Who sent it to me? Lady K, was that you that sent it to me? I'm trying to see if I can find it. Hold on one second. I think she might have sent it to me. So yeah, I was thinking to myself, if there is, let me see. Oh, I can't remember. Did you? I can't remember who sent it to me now. Anyway, but most people have to make money to do what they do. They can't, they're not in a position to simply do things for free. Having said that, there are some things that you try to do like at a minimal and low cost if you can. But again, everything, it takes money to pay staff. It takes money for equipment and all this sort of stuff. So I was thinking about it. And one of the biggest things, as I've said before, about bringing news back in a traditional kind of like sit down at 6 o'clock and watch the news is the truth of the matter is, by the time it's 6 o'clock, it's already stale news. Listen, we had a stabbing last night. I didn't actually post this up because I couldn't get any, when we do stuff on social media, we need an image. So when you send us something like, oh, Sandy, there's like a stabbing, whatever, and you don't give us any kind of like photo of the location, photo or something, we then have to like grab a stock photo and just say stabbing investigation. But I do know that there was a stabbing incident last night. And because I couldn't even get a picture, I kind of just held off on posting it up, right? So, but within 2 minutes of it happening, I already know about it and I can put that up. How does traditional news, this is my question for you. How does traditional news platforms bridge that gap? They really can't, is the problem. Even CNN is struggling. They're closing down locations. Fox is struggling financially and stuff as well. In 5 to 10 years, the way in which we appreciate what those platforms do for news is going to largely transition, and some of it will actually disappear. They were 24/7 news, and if something breaking happens, they have the ability to put it up right away. If you're running something like another Cayman 27 replacement, the chances of them being able to run that 24/7 and, oh, something breaking has happened, let's get a report on the scene right now sort of thing, is really near impossible. So the times have changed, and the way in which we digest and even create media has also changed significantly. And this is a reality that we all have to come to terms with. I mean, I'm trying to find the post. I can't even find it now. But I saw in the comment section that there were a lot of people who were like, we get it quicker. Like, I'm not going to wait to find out at 6 o'clock in the evenings what's actually going on. And I don't want to be glued to TV either. Like, people are going to be on social media, viewing it on social media. A lot of traditional newscasters now, what they do is they actually are out there just like every other person with their iPhone cameras, devices or smart devices, and they're capturing footage and they're capturing news and they're doing it all that way. They're in the field by themselves, setting up their camera, doing their wireless mic checks and all this sort of thing. So I think in our brain, we're still a little bit, and I just said this is true of me in terms of AI and the technology there, we are still a little bit behind the times. And it takes a minute to sometimes recognize the changes that are coming and accept that this is what it is, right? Do we go back and force ourselves to be stuck with technology? Or do we recognize that now for 5, 6, 7 years, we here on this platform have been talking about the changing face of media and what exactly does that mean? What does media look like going into 2025, which is going to be right around the corner before we know it? So, it was an interesting question, and it's certainly one that we have talked about on numerous occasions actually on this platform, and we have discussed. And it was interesting that someone sent it to Everything 345, and I thought, I wonder where that person is, like how old they are, what sort of where do they fit in the demographics, if you will, of a customer base, right? older people tend to really still think about traditional TV as something that they want to reboot of, and if they want, sorry, that they want to come back. Most younger folks, listen, as it happens, ping, 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 it's coming up on your phone. There's news apps, there's different things that can get you the information so much quicker. So we'll see. I mean, we just celebrated. I know I was off island, so we didn't do a big celebration this year, but we just celebrated on the 29th of June, CMR's 8th anniversary. 8 years already, which, by the way, can I just say, flew by in a jiffy. And there's a lot that even in that space has changed. And, we're constantly thinking about how do we pivot ourselves? How do we make ourselves remain relevant and useful to the people of the community? So yesterday I was at the coffee shop. I really miss, I'm going to be the first to say that I miss Bluestone Cafe in town. It was convenient when I was at court and I wanted to just grab a little hot chocolate because they had the proper machines to like make the good stuff, with the foaming cream on top and all that kind of good stuff. I don't drink coffee, but I like a good hot chocolate. Now I'm just out of luck, and their lunches were actually, I get a lot of people complain about their pricing, but I think the quality of their food and the healthy options you got, like cooked, as you requested it, it was like properly cooked for you and whatever. They had a lot of healthier options. I always enjoyed their food, to be honest. So I'm going to miss them. They've shuttered up. Again, business decision. What can you do? But I went to another coffee shop to actually have lunch because they have really good salads. And I felt yesterday like I wanted a little salad and whatever. And so there was a guy there who was saying, "Hey, are you that lady from Cayman Mall Road?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Thank you so much for bringing us the news and, all the stuff that you do. Because, especially during the storm, I was really watching you. I was paying attention. And I appreciate all of the things that you, like how quickly you get us information, particularly during the storm. I was really glued to your channel." And I said, "Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that." And there's so many more elements. Like there's so much more stuff that we want to do. Listen, video content is king, queen every single day of the week, right? I know that you guys don't read. Y'all don't have to tell me this. I know it for a fact that a good portion of people in our community simply do not read. So when we post up a story and I see y'all commenting, I chuckle because I'm like, here's another person who only read the headlines. And so talking about AI generated headlines, they haven't read the story and they're missing a good part of what's actually going on here. Sometimes headlines, not that they're deceptive, but again, you've got certain perimeters that you're trying to keep it within, like so many words and this and that and whatever. A headline doesn't tell anywhere near the full picture. And, but despite that, y'all still grew up in an era where you're not reading a whole lot. You're watching video. Remember, we came from the MTV era where everybody's like listening to MTV video or watching MTV videos and all that kind of stuff, right? So the way in which our brains have been accustomed to digesting information, news and other things is very, very different. So I think the interesting thing about that is people who are in media have to know you got to give people the news in a way that is digestible to them. So you kind of have to, going back to my point yesterday, even talking about the premiere, you have to know your audience, right? And I always say to people, sometimes we get it wrong. The story I put up over the weekend, I actually put that story up. A lot of the website stories, it's actually not me. We have other people who are writing the stories. And I had a typo in fatality. I think I forgot one of the L's. Fatality. Maybe it was a T that I forgot the second T or something. So I had to quickly go and correct it, right? But, we are literally digesting information in a very different way. And so when I write a story, I have to be cognizant. Sandy, you're not writing a university paper. You're not in law school. And when I struggle with it the most, not so much the run of the mill, like, oh, this happened up the street kind of story. It's when I have to do a case review. And it's not like I'm reporting on what happened in court. I'm actually reading a court decision and writing from that court decision, because automatically my brain goes back to law school. When you read a case, you do a case summary. This is how you do it. And then I have to remember, people are not always going to be familiar with what this term means. So try to make it as simple as possible. Try to break it down. Try to, what we say, the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. Stupid being the person who's writing it, because the rule to communication, the first rule is to know your audience. And so if you're writing for the majority of people who are high school educated, why am I writing at a university level? And there's different newspapers around the world. For example, the New York Times, there's actually a rating. I forget what it is now. It's called a readability rating for newspapers. And they will tell you which newspapers around they get a readability score. And it will tell you which newspapers around the world, like, the New York Times has a readability of like maybe a 10 because it's university level, whatever. The Economist, very high level. Like, not everybody is going to be able to read The Economist and understand what it says. So these readability scores are important. And you have to understand when you're in that space what it is that you're aiming for. I know that the majority of our audience, high school level. Yeah, we got 20% that are college and university graduates. But if I write for the high school level, then surely they're going to be able to read it and understand, right? I don't have to communicate at this highfalutin level in writing for them to be able to get it. So there's the UK uses a slightly different readability scale. The US kind of has one. I think they use slightly different numbers. But here is an example, right? When you talk about readability, and it's not just the words that you choose to use and how complex they are, but it's also sentence structure. How long are your sentences? Like, complex sentences are much more challenging and difficult for people to grasp, right? So when you see a whole paragraph and that is just one sentence, I'm like, okay, you got to simplify this, make it multiple sentences and kind of break it down. So here's something you may not know. The Telegraph and the Guardian, they aim for scores between 70 to 90 so that they're readable by 12 to 13-year-olds. Okay? A typical best-selling novel can be read by an 8 to 10-year-old. And so people need to know this. When you're in mass market media, you have to know who you're writing for. And so there are very few publications that are going to be at that university level, because then they're missing out on everybody else. If that university educated level is only 20% of the population, 80% of the people. So it goes from 80 to 90, which is very easy, all the way up. Their numbers decrease. Fairly easy is 70 to 80, 60 to 70 is standard. Fairly difficult is 50 to 60. Difficult is 40 to 50. And then 30 to 40 is very difficult, right? I don't need to complicate anybody's life. I don't have anything to prove. And I think that sometimes people think that, oh, well, she claims that she's got 3-4 degrees, like she needs to prove that to us. I don't have anything to prove. The degrees are on the wall, collecting a little bit of dust. I know how I got them. I didn't have to pay anybody for them. I studied, I read, I wrote, I did whatever was legally required in order to get those degrees. And so it is what it is. When I'm in this business now, this is different. Okay. This is about me trying to understand and know my audience. Only 25% of people read print-only newspapers. That's why I am flabbergasted that anybody's still printing a newspaper. 25% of people read print-only newspapers. This is according to recent research, right? That means that a whooping 75% are accessing their news online. And what percentage do you think are sitting down waiting for 6 o'clock news or a 5 o'clock news segment or whatever? It's even less. There has been a tremendous shift. Internet-based news only is here, and it's certainly not going anywhere. Challenges persist, I think, in any industry. And the biggest challenge is really trying to keep up. That's personally what I find on so many different levels, trying to remain relevant and making sure that you're actually hitting the mark, right? So there's one called the Flesch-Kincaid readability test that was established back in the 1940s for newspapers in particular. So with a score of 15, the readability, for example, MSNBC is the highest reading level, making it most difficult to read. The BBC, on the other hand, receives a much lower score of around 10. So there's a couple different tests and indexes that they use for readability. So listen, this is all interesting, a little bit academic in a way, but it's very, very practical. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Miss Sandra.
Good morning.
Good thing I'm on. I really need your help, Miss Sandra.
Okay.
There's a guy named Shane Jackson. But the past time now, Shane Jackson took $5,500 from me, saying that he bring cars in. And he took the money from me for the car and said the car is at the dock. And he's gonna I should meet him at the register office so I could get the paper for the car. I went there. And until now, Miss Sandra, I haven't seen Shane Jackson. He worked by the dump. I haven't seen Shane Jackson. I haven't heard from Shane Jackson. And Shane Jackson have my money. All Shane Jackson did was telling me that he went away to do heart surgery and the government not paying him good. And he took my money, Mom. I have all the information here. I don't know if you could help me, Mom, because I got my daughter to feed. And working $8 an hour for somebody to take my money, that's bad. And then all I get for it is just the rigmarole. Nothing. All he said, the government not paying him. So I don't know how you work government and you cannot get paid to.
But what did he?
Their money.
What did he actually do with your money? Okay, let's back up. I have a couple questions for you, and I can obviously hear that you're very upset. And you did call me, just for clarity, you did call me on my personal number, but you're on speakerphone, so you are on air. So if you wanted to call the show number, I can give you that number.
Yeah, Mom. Anything right now, because I.
All right, let me.
I call it back.
Yeah, let me call you. Let me call you. Because poor you're already out $5,500, so we're not gonna use up your low credit. Let me call you. I'll call you right back. Wow. So in a situation like this, obviously we need to do some fact checking, get some details, but this is sad.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, morning.
Morning.
So okay, let's back up a little bit. When did you give him this money?
I gave him I buy the car like maybe I gave him the money for the car like maybe 3 to 4 years ago, but I have to wait. I went back to Jamaica.
Years?
Went back to Jamaica. Yes, Mom.
Wow.
I went back to Jamaica. When I went back to Jamaica and come back, because I don't know Cayman that well. And when I come back, he keep on hiding me. I know where he worked. But he said that he didn't work there no more. This morning is when I saw him driving the truck. I have all the information in my phone right now.
Oh my God. So you have to send me all of that information, of course.
I will send you information, Mom, and you can always keep me on live because
So go ahead and forward me the information. So what was the original arrangement between the two of you? So he was supposed to order you what type of vehicle?
He's supposed to order me a 2010 Honda Accord, Miss Sandra.
Okay. All right. And he was going to order this online, like you saw the car online somewhere?
Yes, Mom. He picked the car for me. He showed me the car. And he told me, okay, this is the price for the car. You give me $5,500 and I will ship the car into you.
Okay. All right.
I trust him. I give him my money. And after I give him my money, Miss Sandra, I don't hear nothing from Shane Jackson.
And how did you know him? How did you find out?
So I know him through his girlfriend.
Okay.
His girlfriend that he had used to be my boss, my boss cousin. So I know they're doing that through them. I don't expect all of this to happen. So I know him through a close friend.
All right. So, and you said you've got messages between the two of you.
Yes, ma'am, I have messages where he confirmed. I even to show you how this gentleman wicked, Miss Sandra. I bring him to the police station, and that's when he said the government not paying him, and he signed that he will pay me back $500. I said, okay, just give me back some of the money because working $7 and with 4 kids and to pay and have all type of bills, I really need back my money if they don't come through with the car. And until this blessed day, this is the type of treatment I get. This is the type of treatment all he did when he see me drive, because honestly, I don't know how to drive him down. I don't want to drive him down either and then have a conversation between me and him.
No, you don't want to do that.
I am seeking the best way out. Your help, the police help, and if I have to take him to court, then I need help.
Okay, so where's Shane? Where's this guy from? You said his name is Shane Jackson?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's he from?
I think he's from Swamp.
Okay.
Not Swamp, Windsor Park.
From Windsor Park. All right. And you have a telephone number for Shane?
He blocked me, Miss Sandra. Like I said,
send me the number.
I just have what I have for him right now is where he works now, because I see him in the dump truck.
Okay.
And I have the message on WhatsApp. I have his voice note.
All right, go ahead and send me his number and that sort of information. I'm going to WhatsApp me right now because I'm going to send you a picture of someone I found online that's a Shane Jackson. I need you to confirm if this is actually him. Because I don't know who Shane Jackson is, but send me a WhatsApp message and then also send me his number because we need to get a fix on who he is.
Okay, Mom.
You know roughly how old Shane Jackson is?
He's roughly 39 now, 39 to 40.
Okay, so this person was born in 1984. We're now in 2024. So that would make him 40. So this could very well be him. So WhatsApp me. I'm born August the 13th. So WhatsApp me and let me send you his picture and you tell me if this is him. And so outstanding is 5,500 CI dollars.
No, so he give me, so it's 3,500 now, Mom, because he pay a little and then he disappears, so he done the heart surgery.
Okay. So he gave you a couple $1,000 back and still balances you 3,500.
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom.
Okay.
All right, Mom. Thank you.
Yeah, send me the information.
Okay, Mom.
Okay. Wow. The other thing, let me say this as well. I know we were talking about something a little bit different when she called, but one of the things that makes CMR a little bit different is from day one, I was like, listen, I always said this was a passion and not a paycheck. For me, this isn't about being in the news business. This is about being in the business of sharing of information and stories, things that are impacting our community and the things that we care about. There is an element of community in what CMR does. Other newspapers might be, straight news. We're just looking for news stories, whatever. The largest part that underpins this platform is love and appreciation for who we are as a country. And sometimes that includes the underbelly, the stuff that we don't really want to talk about, the child abuse, the scammers, the, bad employers. All of these things make up who we are, whether we want to accept it or not. And I've always felt like there's a degree of activism that is necessary in whatever I do in my life. I can tell you from the youngest age, I've said to some of you before, not everyone has, I think everybody might have a calling in life, but not everybody will find their purpose. And sometimes your purpose isn't in the same way. I have always understood from a very, very early age that I have a voice. I'm able to speak. And I'm not afraid of a lot of things, right? Maybe stupidly so. and I will speak up and I will agitate on behalf of people. And it is my life duty to help people in any way that I can. And so when I started CMR, that was the foundation on which this platform was built. That's why I don't filter a whole lot of stuff. I'm like, you guys are adults. You can read and filter stuff on your own. If you don't like a story, then don't read it. If you don't like the platform, block it, don't watch it, don't read it. That's not really my business. That's not going to change the role and the job that I have to do. And this story, this woman and her situation is a perfect example of why if we don't, and again, I'm not putting the burden on anybody else, but for me, I know the impact of this platform. And so more so than ever, as the reach of the platform continues to go, and I know people listen to people like, oh my God, they don't worry about going to jail anymore. They worry about ending up on CMR. As they're in court, they trying to call me, oh, Miss Sandy, I was in a little traffic thing, but please don't print this story, blah, blah. Like when they see me in court sitting there, you can see the nervousness on some people because they're like, oh, is she going to be covering my story? Like, what is she doing here? I have a role in this community. This is my country. This is where I was born. This is where I hope to spend, the rest of my life if I can. And we got a lot of things that we need to be working on. We need to be fixing. It's unfortunate that we have so many people who are willing to take advantage of other people. And the only time that they're going to do the right thing is when they are compelled and forced to do the right thing. And that really breaks my heart because people should do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. But they don't. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Sandy. How are you today?
Not bad, dear. How are you?
Yeah, just a quick question. There are some people that is concerned about getting paid for certain time when they're not working and they can't work because of like the hurricane just passed. And on Thursday, I think it was, they weren't able to go to work, and the employers has refused to pay them and said that they don't have to pay them. But I have come to find out that I found somewhere in the labor law that they should be able to pay them, and doesn't these companies have to know the labor law? I mean, all these companies that are hired Cayman, it's always a problem with certain holidays and stuff like that, well, I don't have to pay you and all of this sort of stuff. I thought that was a part of their license and something to know the labor law or know what the law requires. Can you give me any information on that, ma'am?
Well, it's interesting, Mr. George, that you bring this up, because I actually had someone reach out to me about this very thing. And I had to speak to an HR professional to get the correct answer. There's a couple of things going on here. To answer your question directly, as an employer, you're supposed to know your legal responsibilities. Whether you understand the labor law or not, the law doesn't care, because remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So it doesn't matter if you know the law. It would be in your best benefit if you did know the law. A lot of employers don't. People start up business and they don't appreciate all the different elements of being in business. And that's a whole other conversation. The point is, you need to either hire somebody who understands the labor law or contact the Department of Labor and Pensions to make sure if you're doing things, you're doing it within the confines of the law and what the law requires. That's to answer your first question about, are you not supposed to know the law? Nobody's going to test you. There's not a prerequisite to get a business license in Cayman that you actually understand and know any of the laws. You don't have to, they're not going to say, do you understand and know the pension law? Do you, they just want basic information. And these are the things you have to have: an insurance plan. You have to have a pension plan for your staff. These are the requirements, and however you're going to get it done, you need to get it done. The other part of this is, unfortunately, there are few protections in the law that are mandated, right? So contracts, and we're going to be talking about contracts here in a little bit, contract law as it relates to CUC, for example. Contracts are entered into by two people. The labor law sets out minimum standards. So it says, for example, a standard work week is this. If you're not management, you have to pay based on this. If given notice periods, there are minimum things that are in the law. Outside of that, it allows for the parties to negotiate between themselves, which is fair in the world of business, employment relations, and so on. And so there are things you and I can enter into an employment contract, and as long as I meet whatever the minimums are in the labor law, we can agree to different things. We can exceed those. We can agree to different notice periods and so on. Most people have no clue what they're doing when it comes to employment contracts. That's a sad fact, right? Even people who you think like they own franchises and big companies or whatever, they have an HR manager. That's not their area of expertise, so they don't know what's going on. So they rely on an HR specialist, an HR manager, an HR assistant, or whatever to advise them on what it is they need to do. There are employers who I put in the category of being rogue employers who just don't care. Let me be very clear, Mr. George. They don't care. Storms are coming, and they expect staff to sit there and work until the 11th hour. Oh, well, we've got customers. We need to be feeding people, blah, blah, blah. And I've had private conversations with people because a lot of times I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I will have a private conversation with them and say, hey, legally, you might be able to do this, but do you think it is the right and ethical thing to do? Because there is a concept of ethics in business. Do you think it's the right thing to do to keep your staff working up until before we shut down to go into storm? Because how are they supposed to prepare? How are they supposed to get their families ready? Maybe there are things that they need to do. Maybe they needed to go to the grocery store. They needed to get stuff done. How are they able to do that? If you notice the interview that I did outside of Foster's with some of their staff, I noticed that some of them were coming out with their grocery carts and stuff even after the store had been closed for a couple hours. And I said to Mr. Paul, his little tag said he was a manager, assistant manager or something. And I said, oh, I noticed that some of your staff, I guess they're shopping. He said, yeah, we have, we're going to allow our staff this extra time to get their shopping done and to be able, because now we understand everybody has to prepare for the storm. That's a good employer. Unfortunately, there are too many people that are not good and they want to run and operate businesses. We call them out here on the show all the time. Now, to this specific question, because I'm going to answer the question. Strong Will says this is called greedy. I'm going to answer the question because unlike most people, some of our MPs, for example, and even the leaders of politics in the United States of America, they don't know how to answer a question. Mr. George, would you be surprised to know that my research has found after I inquired about this? Let me pull it up. I'm going to tell you exactly what this HR professional said to me. Hold on one second now. I can get his information here. One second. I remember his name. Hold on, I can get it. What I have discovered is that in the law, there is no obligation for you to get paid if you're off because of a hurricane. So last week, when everybody was like, okay, the storm's coming, 6 o'clock, it wasn't technically a curfew, but they were saying 6 o'clock, nobody's allowed to be on the roadway. Guess what? The law doesn't say that in that type of a situation, your employer has to pay you. Can you believe it? All right, hold on. Yeah, I was surprised too, because I thought for sure, if you're not off by any fault of your own, what is his name? I'm trying to find the HR person. I don't necessarily want to call his name, but here we go. So I sent him a question.
That's a new one to me.
Yes, me too. So I sent him a question on Friday, and the person had said to me, "Good afternoon, Miss Sandra. I just spoke to you on the phone. I have a fixed salary, and I was wondering if I should get paid the complete week of salary, even if I did not work yesterday due to the storm. Thanks in advance." The HR professional says, as it's a natural act of God, employers are not liable, unfortunately. And I'm like, what? But you couldn't force your staff that day to go to work, could you? The government said at 6 o'clock, that's it. Everybody be in place. So this is where the legislators are failing the people of the Cayman Islands, because to me, this is a loophole that has long existed in the law and nobody has fixed it. They're concerned about all sorts of other stuff, but fixing these types of things that would improve the quality of people's lives. So I was a bit shocked. I sent him a voice note and he says, if there's a hurricane threat and the government decides to lock down the country, employers have no obligation to pay. But where the country has been when this country, or where the country has been reopened, employers should reopen their business and therefore call back employees to recommence working. So in other words, there's no obligation to pay people for last week Thursday. And to me, I think that's a little bit crazy. And I think decent employees, if you're paying somebody by the week, to think that you would deduct that day from them says a lot about you as an employer. Because I'm like, come on, man, this was a storm. This wasn't anybody's fault. We're not saying that as an employer, it's your fault. But surely it's also likewise not the fault of your workers. We were all under instructions. Sorry?
Do you have a conscience? Do you have a conscience?
I know I do.
I mean, one day.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough. You know, do you love your employee?
Well, listen, you don't have to love someone to know that there are principles of equity and fairness, right?
Yeah.
And it's more about how would you want to be treated if the shoe was on the other foot?
Amen. That's right. Oh, it is a funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not gonna no hard at all, man. I mean, like you say, one day, just for one day, you reduct that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, I thought it was in the law.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, my dear.
I thought it was in the law.
Yeah. Lots of things not in laws. And I mean, obviously there are different types of situations that you have to think about. And I see someone messaging about Ivan. So Spice, what is it? Spice? Is that supposed to be cartel? I don't know what I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Says it's simply selfish. You must stay at home to earn them $1 and protect their ish. But what about our own hard-earned and invested dollar? Modern day slavery, says Damien. Barbara G says, good morning, everybody. Have a good day. Facts. Cassius says, oh, did I miss a comment from Cassius? Says employees should make an effort to know their rights. Knowledge is power. Well, this person reached out. And I was surprised, just as she was surprised, to know that the rights are not the rights are not enshrined, my apologies, in the legislation and the way in which we think. Even Damien says acts of God and you don't get paid. Mm-hmm. Faded Mary Jane says, yep, I inquired about this in 2021 and that's what I was told. It's up to the discretion of the company to pay you. Labor board told me this. Listen to me. When I moved back to Cayman in 1996, we had the couple storms in the late 90s. I was working for a law firm at the time. And at that time, I think over the years, their reputation has improved on how they treat staff. But, we used to joke at the company that they were you remember the movie, The Firm, where like you step out of line and the company murders you and all that kind of stuff? We would joke that this particular law firm was The Firm. The movie was based off of them because they just worked people in a different kind of way. And they were all about profits, not about people. And let me be clear, there has to be a balance, right? I'm a business owner. So I get that you can't operate and run a business in the red, because then you're not going to be in business. Unless you're independently wealthy, you know, and you can take on, listen, that's why I give credit where credit is due. I say, whatever we think about the DART organization, they basically saved the compass from going under. And the compass serves whatever, you know, portion of the marketplace. And it's good to have a degree of competition in all businesses, right? So they saved them. They're not in a position, which time will tell how much it really matters, but the DART organization can afford to pick up a failing company. And maybe they have the expertise that they can try to make it profitable. But even if it just breaks even and never becomes profitable again, they have other elements of their business that are profitable that they can float the compass probably forever. A lot of people can't do that. So there is a balance between profits and business and people. And it's not all about the profit. Sometimes it's a give and take. And how you gain loyalty from the people that, you know, work for you is you don't nickel and dime them on everything. I say this to people who come in and work for me. I'm like, listen, the labor law says like domestic workers, right? $6 an hour. And you got to work so many hours per week. I'm not sitting here clocking in. Okay, Miss Stacy, you came in at 7:02. You got to sign in. Now, for some of you, you might have to be more precise with your timing. I'm like, listen, this is when I need you here in the mornings to get Gianna ready for school, do XYZ, make sure she gets breakfast, blah, blah, blah. I just need the task done, right? If you're done with everything by 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock and you want to leave, that's your business. I don't care about that. I'm not sitting here micromanaging anybody with that sort of thing. I'm not going to be like, well, you didn't really work a 40-hour week, so I'm going to start making some deductions. And come on. Think about people and the balance that has to be achieved when you're in business. Just last week, I was speaking to a company, and I'm not going to call any names, that is one of my clients. And I said to that company owner, I said, I need you to consider the messaging that you're giving to people in the community, especially when it comes to situations like storms. When you say, oh, staff have to work up until a certain hour, I said, you need to be more flexible and you need to be careful, because we live in a community, a very small community, where I think as consumers, our loyalty should lie with the companies that do the right thing. Because that's the power that we as consumers have. Listen, the average organization out there needs your money. They rely on you. So unless they're an exempt company and they're just here operating offshore and blah, 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 they need you. And don't forget that. Restaurants need you. Bars and restaurants need you. Salons need you. Grocery stores need you. And if they don't know how to treat people and how to treat people right, do not give them your business. You guys know that I have a certain preference for a particular car. I like a Mercedes. My first Mercedes, I bought it from Auto House way back in the day. Unfortunately, the owner proved to not be the most honest person in the world. And he did something on more than one occasion that proved his dishonesty. He forced me to actually reach out to Mercedes in Germany. This was back in the day. I had to email them and chase them to say, hey, this is what happened to my car. And they were like, wait a minute. Why would he be doing that? First of all, your car is still under warranty. I was like, oh, really? You should have never paid for that. And then he took a used car part off of somebody else's car and put it on my car and didn't even inform me that that's what he was doing, basically voiding the warranty in my car and charging me for the price of a new part when the car was under warranty and I shouldn't have paid at all. And I said, oh, honey child, when Mercedes found out, they were not happy. That's why that person don't have the Mercedes license anymore, because of shenanigans like that. As much as I love that car, listen to me. I went to a Honda Integra and something else in between, I wouldn't buy another Mercedes. It was only until Car City took it over. And there's a reason why Car City would have gotten the contract. Totally different quality of service. They're not lying to nobody. They're not being dishonest. They're not putting used car parts on your vehicle and telling you it's brand new. And then you only find out from the mechanic and the installer that it isn't. In business, we as consumers have choices. And you need to start supporting people. That's why that restaurant the other day who was sending out this very questionable email, although they were denying it, all the evidence points to the fact that somebody from their organization sent it out. You think I would ever step foot in that restaurant again to have brunch? I don't care. Let me make myself very, very clear. Now, y'all know I love my food. I love my belly. I don't care how good the food is. The food could be lined with gold. I would never step foot in there. My best friend could say to me, "Oh, Sandy, I'm going to have my lunch brunch there. Will you please come?" And I'm going to say, "No, thank you. I'll take you out for lunch somewhere else. You and I can go to Thai Orchid, honey chill. We can go somewhere else for lunch." It's a matter of principle. Y'all need to stand on principle when you give people your hard-earned money. I'm not giving my people, anybody, hard-earned money who don't know how to treat their staff right. Steak Social. I wanted to go there. Have they shut down yet? I heard the food was good and steak was good and blah, blah, blah. And then I started hearing these stories about how they're treating staff and how management is taking the tips from staff and this, that, and the next thing, all kind of foolishness, and getting big time base salary on top of it. And I said, I don't care how good that steak is. I can go to Miami and get me a really good steak and pay for it and be okay. Stand on principles for people. It's a hot mess. Aliano said we need labor law reform. No reform, no vote. Well, good morning, caller.
Sandy.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I love these topics.
Thank you.
Absolutely love these topics. Couple things. HR, big companies, HR does not work for the employees. They work for the business.
Mm-hmm.
People need to understand that. You can go to HR, but HR is going to take that news where they need to take that news to protect the company. That's what human resources do in businesses.
Yep.
Also, there is a revised 2023 labor law, and a lot of people don't realize that, and they don't really know how to find it when you Google it or you go. It's really difficult to find the 2023 revised labor law, immigration law, whatever you want to call it. Also, there's companies, and I'm going to give kudos to Progressive and Foster's who took care of their people during COVID.
Yep.
They really stepped up and stepped out to help their employees, and they honor their employees, they respect their employees, and they take care of their employees. Then you have employers who will nickel and dime their staff to death. They will take away every cent they can possibly take away, but they expect their staff to jump up, jump out, be there, do this, do that, and on it goes. And then you have the people who are afraid to speak up and speak out for fear, and they are afraid for fear of losing their jobs, and then also going and putting in a complaint, and the complaints go nowhere. So you have different government entities that you can go to. However, those government entities don't necessarily do their work. They don't do their job. So you're caught in the middle of many factors when it comes to employment. People need to understand that, you know what? If you're making $6.50, $7.50, $8 an hour, don't go over and above. Do your job, do it well, go home.
Yep.
And you know, salaried employees, salary is salary. you get paid for if you do, if you get paid if you don't. You go overboard, you should get paid. If you don't do a full work, you should still get paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what a salary employee is.
Yes.
An hourly rate employee, like you said, when it comes to, different employers, step up, take care of your employees, show some loyalty. That's where you're going to get loyalty in return. If you take advantage of employees, expect what you get.
Yep. Absolutely. Kaboom.
Kaboom!
Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good day.
All right. And that's a good point to know the difference. As an employee, you have to know your rights as well, and to understand the difference between an hourly salary employee and one who is actually paid salary versus hourly. And there is a difference. We need to have professionals come on this program and go through different elements of the labor law to explain things. But let me be very clear. This is where government agencies, the Department of Labor, should be putting on and engaging with the public. They should be putting on these, public campaigns. Did you know? Do you know your rights kind of thing? Why aren't they doing anything like that? Let me see. Do they have a social media page? Department of Labor and Pensions. Their DLP. Let me see if they have a social media presence. Because maybe they're posting stuff and I don't know anything about it. I don't see workforce. There's workforce opportunities and residency, but they're different. So they posted something on June the 28th, said sharing from the Department of Labor and Pensions. But where is their page? Hold on. I'm still looking. So, for example, they did a do you know? Good for them. But again, this first I'm seeing it, but they did a do you know that Monday, the 1st of July is Constitution Day and a public holiday in the Cayman Islands. If you work on a public holiday, you should be paid double your normal rate. If you do not work on a public holiday, but work your scheduled work day before and after the public holiday, you should be paid for the day at the regular rate. So, these are things that I'm still trying to find if they themselves have a social media presence. But these are things, folks, that are useful information. And exactly what I was thinking, more and more needs to be done like this. Doesn't look like they have a social media page, which I would find so bizarre. Pages. Department of Labor and Pensions. 4 followers? That can't be the Cayman Islands Department of Labor and Pensions. DLP Cayman has 4 followers, and all you see, it looks like it was just not too long set up. April the 17th, updated their profile picture, and that's it. Come on now. You see, this is where, as someone who lives in this really small community, I shake my head and I say, WTF. Your page should have thousands of followers. You should be active, posting stuff every single day. I mean, this looks like the official page. DLP Cayman. It looks like they've just set this up. And nothing on the page. No engagement, no nothing. 4 followers are probably people who work there. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, Sandra, how are you?
Not bad. How are you? Are you trying to call the show?
Good, thanks.
Yeah.
Talking about the labor, right? Does the government or the DLP has like a hotline where
listen,
employees have this?
They don't even have a social media presence, is what I just said to you. So I mean, this is 2024 after all. Yeah. So I don't know about a hotline, but they do have their regular phone number, which is 945-8960. And then they have an email contact. Who is head of DLP these days? They need to get it together. They need to get with the times.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people sometimes they're afraid of as well of complaining to to our agencies because they would say, "Oh, I'm going to lose my job, not going to get any work permit anymore."
Exactly.
But in fact, they are being abused actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we encourage people to speak out, but then the agencies that are responsible for enforcement have got to make it their priority to be reachable. You know what I'm saying? They need to be educating the general public. So like I said, they have a page set up. It only has 4 followers. They've not done any content on it. They put up their primary photo, which is just the Cayman Islands coat of arms. And then when I looked though, and I saw WORC sharing something from them, I'm thinking, well, where did WORC get that from to be able to share it? Somebody said Mr. Bernard Ebanks is head of labor. Well, I don't know who he is, but I'm going to make a suggestion that maybe he needs to step it up a little bit.
Yeah. The reason why I called too is that this someone who came to me.
Mm-hmm.
They've been working like 5 in the morning until I think 5 in the afternoon. And then sometimes they don't even get any break. And then, oh my God, it's just so hard to inform everyone about this, but there's a lot there going on right now.
What kind of company? You don't have to give me the name, but what kind of company do they work for? Is it like a restaurant, salon, bar?
No, not. It's like
domestic,
like a farm, something like that.
Like a farm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said, did you know that you have a right to have a break in the morning? Do you know that you have a lunch break? Do you know you have an afternoon break? You have to tell your boss about
So that's like hard labor work out in the hot sun on a farm, and they're not getting any breaks.
And he was terminated,
Is the farm owner a woman?
Sandra.
Because we featured her. We featured her before. We've had one of her employees complain about her before.
Yeah.
WhatsApp me the information.
So I said to him, you have to tell her about this directly.
Yeah.
Tell her about this. You need to eat in order for you to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if she don't listen, you have a right to go to the labor and inform them what's going on.
Yeah.
And then they would just say, "Oh, sir, I will just have to look for another job. Maybe you could help me."
Wow.
Yeah.
Send me the information. I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I said the problem won't end there. They will hire another one, right? They will hire another one, and then they will abuse that person again.
Exactly.
So the problem won't stop.
That's right. People have got to speak up.
Yeah, they have to speak up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Anyway, thank you, Miss Sandra. Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks very much.
Okay,
936-2626. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning, dear.
I just wanted to confirm that the labor and pension board, they do offer training on the labor law and pension law, because I, as an employee, attended it, and there was many other companies that sent employees to that training.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of employers sending people that they want to the training so that they will know what the law is all about.
And sometimes it's not for lack of knowledge, Sometimes it's not that they don't know what the law is, it's that they refuse to follow it.
Right.
Which is a whole different situation.
Well, I guess. But that's why if you as an employee knows, then you have a right to speak up on your own behalf.
Absolutely. Thank you, caller. Yes, ma'am.
You have employees, and they just take them for advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They show up, work late, they come to work whenever they feel like, and they expect you to continue to treat them like, to go above and beyond for them. So it's a flip side on both ends of it. Whether you're an employer or an employee, you need to be committed to the employer, and the employee needs to be committed to each other. That's my take on it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Good. I like this topic.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to speak out
on
a neutral basis.
Okay.
Because let me tell you something. A lot of time when when I or someone else reported a staff about their behavior, Labor Board don't do anything. You see, if a staff just get up and said, oh, in 2-3 days, I don't feel like I want to work with you. Do me a beg, you not cancel the permit. Let me get one next permit. And you say, all right, then go 2 weeks. Within that 2 weeks, the time them done set up with whoever there.
But let me
biasness.
Yeah, but let me say this, right? So the Department of Labor and Pensions is there really for enforcement of the pensions and labor law. There's actually nothing in the law, going back to what the law says, there's nothing in the law that says a person has to work for you for any period of time. Right? So there's nothing, I mean, you can't contact DLP and complain to them that your workers want to leave your employment. Because like I said at the beginning of this discussion, there is an element of this is contract law, and the parties, provided you meet the minimum standards of the labor law, the parties are free to negotiate and free to engage. That's capitalism, that's free market. Imagine what would happen though if an employer could tell you that you can't leave their employment. That would amount to slavery.
No employer does not supposed to do that. But what I'm saying in this matter is, you see, when you have the correct information and you show it and you even go there, I don't know about now, but before, like for instance, I was here working. I was one of the ISP cosmetologists on island, and I paid my pension right through. Not me paid, they even draw it out. And when it comes down to the bottom of it and I go to the pension board, the pension, for my pension, there is nothing in it more than $85. When I reported it, it was in the system. And by the time I went back, because of close friends and who you know and what have you, everything was wiped out.
What do you mean everything was wiped out?
Nothing in the system stating that I was working there and it was there before. I'm telling you.
So let me understand what you said. You're saying that you made a complaint to who? DLP?
Yes.
And when you went back to what system? What was wiped
When I
out?
went back to them, they said I must come back to them. And by the time the person contact them, and for instance, I went back there as when they said I must come back. There was nothing in the system.
There was no record of your complaint?
Nothing in the system, not even a record showing that I was there working for the person.
But what system would show that, though? This is where I'm a little bit confused.
No. Because I bring all my pay slip and everything to them. Right? And by the time the person contacted them because they're friends, there was nothing in the system. That's what led me on to owning my own. Because I was just going around in a circle here on island.
Yeah, I mean, when you say there's nothing in the system, you're saying that they had no record of your complaint.
No record, nothing.
But my question to you is then, this is where people need to be smart. How did you make your complaint? You put it in writing?
I went there to them and give them everything.
Now I want everybody to listen to me.
Yeah.
This is why. Anytime you deal with a government agency, you write to them, even if you have a phone call conversation.
I have the knowledge now, you know.
Right. You follow up with email, because nobody can say to you that, oh, we didn't receive your email, because you can say, yes, I sent it on such and such a date. Here's the copy of the email. This is where it was sent to.
You hear, but you're just saying that you pay to learn.
Right.
And you go through experiences for you to have wisdom.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So now what I do is drop an email. Because even if I delete it from their hand,
you have a copy of it.
Mine.
That's right.
So it pays to learn. So what I'm saying, there is no record there. And not only for that, you have persons who orchestrated persons from the labor law against persons. So if you do not have anything in writing or anything as record, they push it under the carpet. And it is happening not only there, but other places.
Yes. Keep it in writing.
I was drugged through the system. Unfairly. And let me tell you something. Everybody that they sent here, if I wasn't with camera and recording, I would have dragged through it again. You get what I'm saying? So they only targeted people who they want to target. And that is and it's not only them. It is in the forces, the police force, it is in the workforce, and it is in the custom force. And they must stand responsibility for their work with integrity, with morality, and decency and honesty. I made reports upon reports, and they only take the reports and they're gone on vacation, and when they come back, they drag it out until they reach the time when it's supposed to just dump. So when I heard you about the mechanics, Miss Sandy, let me tell you something. They are going to have persons just park their vehicle and people just taking it and scrap it down, just like what they was doing in Jamaica. They're defending them.
Wow.
They're defending them. Officers disrespect me in their office for mechanics who steal my parts and send me go buy parts and take it for themselves. So that's the reason why I'm talking out. You know why I'm?
Yes.
You know when you drink until your belly can't hold no more.
Yes.
That is how I feel in the system, in the area of the system. And the persons, when them see them come around you and they stand for what is right with the law, them run from you. And when they run from you, they run from you with our lies. Because what? You're not doing what they want you to do. So it is a two side to the story. And until the Labor Department can look into it and say, listen to me, let me bring you in front of your boss. Don't let me just do a phone call. Let them sit into a room and have a conversation. And then you can look into their eyes and see what is happening. People don't know that eye contact is the most honest thing.
All right, my dear, we got another caller in the line. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my baby. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Uh-oh. Did I lose them? Oh, boy. There used to be a time when I could put more people on hold, and I don't know what happened to the phone lines, but I'll try calling them back. Lately, I can only put two on hold at one time. When I pick up the third one, it disconnects. I don't know. Hi, morning, caller. Uh-oh. Call drop. This is from the DLP website. It says, what we do. The primary mission of the Department of Labor and Pensions is to engage, educate, and oversee labor and pensions compliance and enforcement within the private sector. As a regulator, you heard what they said, regulator, the DLP aims to provide a one-stop experience for labor and pension services and support delivered by dedicated and caring civil servants operating in a fair, prompt, and impartial manner. Strong Wilt says, Sandy, I know a former politician have someone working with them and he's not paying pension. This is the second person that he did that to. Facts. Well, Strong Wilt, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this show, but we have not a former politician. We have a current politician, current minister of government, AKA Dwayne John Seymour, who continues to owe people and have owed people for years for non-payment of pensions. And he is the director that DLP and WORC recently fell under. Y'all heard what I just said? The minister responsible for labor is violating, through his company, labor laws himself. We have no accountability in this country. These are the types of things that, and I'm going to call up both previous premiers, Juliana O'Connor Conley and Mr. Wayne Panton, who put him in the position, need to make sure that they're verified. Now, apparently he told Wayne that it was paid. I don't know why Wayne would believe someone that has proven himself to be a liar in the past. Alden as well. Alden knew about his labor infractions and kept him as Minister of Health and did nothing about it. How can this be? What kind of example are you setting in this country when the labor minister himself has labor infractions? During COVID, when people could take a break from paying pensions, this man had the nerve and the audacity to take that same pension break, knowing that he's owed people for years. The leadership in this country, like sour milk. They're doing it and they're getting away with it. Boy, I tell you, what a mess we in. 936-2626. Sophia says, yes, talk to things. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Sandy. How are you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Great. Just want to say to you that you look phenomenal in that green.
Thank you.
The more people would say, I don't know whether it's a frock or whether it's just a blouse.
Yeah, it's
green's
just a
my
blouse.
favorite color, and it's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, I saw some of the comments earlier. I think green might be my color because a lot of people, anytime I wear green, people love it.
Yes, it looks beautiful on you.
Thank you so much.
But you're welcome. Good morning to all your callers. I was on with you last week, and I did say to you that I wanted to highlight something that I learned happened. Well, not learned. I experienced it the week that school closed in Cayman.
Okay.
And again, it's with these companies that, namely, brokers, that you order stuff and you have it shipped, and then you go and you deal with these brokers here locally in Cayman. Now, I deal with a particular broker for my company, for the company I work for professionally, as well as for personally. And I must say that this man has proven himself over and over and over again for his phenomenal services. So I'm not even going to call his name unless they want me to say who he is and they use him going forward. But he's on the back burner. That's not who I'm calling about. And I'm sure that this person, I don't know if he's listening or not this morning, but I'm sure he thought he was going to get away with it with me. It's not going to happen, because when you try to take advantage of schools and students, now that's where it bothers me. And so let me just quickly brief you what it is, brief our audience. The company's name, Ship to Cayman. I think the guy's name is Dean. Don't know his last name. Can't remember his last name. But the week that school was closing, the John Gray High School was putting on a production, and our drama department has been putting on some phenomenal productions this past year with our students. And they contacted me on the Tuesday. The drama teacher contacted me literally in tears, and this was like 3:00, 2:30 in the evening, and she said to me, Miss Reed, we have a situation. All of our props and all of our costumes, we still cannot get them from the broker. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I wrote checks for you from weeks ago for you guys to pay this company, and the items should have been delivered to you already. Anyhow, she had explained to me that probably for 2 weeks, this broker was telling them that the stuff was on island and it was being held up by CBC. Lies. So luckily, the teacher decided to pick up the phone that morning and call CBC to see if she could get some clarity, only to find out that the items had been on island for nearly 2 weeks. CBC had done their part. They had cleared everything, when they, I guess, submit the stuff through online and they clear and approve everything. And they basically said to her that they were just waiting for the company to come in and pay for it. And the fact that it's been sitting there now for nearly 2 weeks, it was, of course, incurring storage fees and all of this sort of stuff. So when she contacted me, she was in a panic because the production was starting that evening at 6 o'clock at the school, and this was now 2:30. And she didn't have her props and her costumes. So I said to her, give me the name of the company again, give me the name of the owner, let me call them and see what is happening. Picked up the phone, called them, they answered right away. And I introduced myself, told them who I was, and I didn't even ask them. I basically said to them, you literally have 1 hour and a half. I'm going to give you 90 minutes because that would take you up to 4 o'clock. That's before customs closes. You literally have between 2:30 and 4 o'clock to go pay for these items, clear these items, have them delivered to John Gray High School for a production that is happening within 2 hours from that point. Or I'm going then to be on phones with ministers, DCI, and then I'm going to Cayman Mall Road. No, look here. All I had to say was Cayman Mall Road, and you talking about things happening. Where the money come from and how they find it. Everything was cleared. And while he didn't deliver it, even though we paid for that service, he actually called the teacher and told the teacher to come and pick it up herself, which she did to make sure that she received it. But my point is that this crap is happening here. And, you know, you hear about it, but when you really have to experience it and you have to pick up the phone and mind you now, we had already paid for these services, several $100s from weeks in advance and had already prepaid him. And then I verified that the checks had already been cashed as well. Things like that really grieves me with these little pop-up companies. And that's what I'm going to call it now in Cayman. Because ever since COVID, all you hear is pop, 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 pop. I call them pop-up companies. Everywhere you turn around, it's a pop-up company. And they're abusing the system. And they're abusing people and their monies. But like I said, when you get the schools involved and get my children involved and you can put them to a disadvantage, and I'm making joke with you, and I made him understand that. And he thought, I'm sure he's thinking that, oh God, she hasn't called in. It's been 2 weeks and we're going to get by. But no, I want Dean to understand, because when I started to share it with friends and tell them what happened, they were like, oh my God, you all used him? You all use that company, Ship to Cayman? I'm like, what are you talking about? They were like, girl, he's a ripoff and this is what he does. And if he call you and tell you that you need now to come and pay because your items is on the island, if you don't pay him on within 24 hours of him calling you, this was 2 particular friends told me this, he will then start to charge you a late fee every single day. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the pile of foolishness that's happening in our island. And this is where DCI needs to get out there. I don't know what they need to do, but they need to control this because people are being taken advantage of.
Wow.
So I just thought I would call and share that information.
Yes.
All right?
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Well, I don't know who Ship to Cayman is, but I can tell you one thing in the comment section. This person, Floss Boss, says Ship to Cayman are the absolute worst. Denver says Ship to Cayman charges high. Jay's Gaming says, man, I've been waiting for my goods for 2 weeks now. Who the hell is Ship to Cayman? Listen to me. These, as she rightfully said, these Johnny come lately businesses not coming straight, none at all. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Sandy, me again.
Hey.
She's talking about brokers. Do people really realize? I mean, do people realize here in the Cayman Islands they also are brokering human beings?
Oh God, that's a whole other show.
Bringing people in here, you know, and then they get here, and then they have to pay a certain.
Oh yes, I see what you're saying.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning.
Sorry, we have 2 callers on.
Shall I wait?
Yeah, you're just on hold. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sandra.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a form of human trafficking.
Of course.
You know, and that's happening here in the Cayman Islands. People don't know it. I know that for a fact because I had to take care of somebody years ago that was being brokered.
Wow.
And put a stop to it. And there's also employers making staff members that want to leave pay their work permit fees back. I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans going on around here that people don't realize it's happening. And that's why I say people are afraid. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to speak out because they don't know if they're going to get any results and they're not protected they are not protected, and they need to be protected. You know, we brag about the Cayman Islands. We boast about how great of a country it is. Well, it is a great country.
Yes.
But there's a lot of crap going
happening
on as well. A lot of garbage. And there's a lot of shady characters on this island doing some shady crap that is totally unacceptable, and there needs to be a stop put to it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting that she said that basically, you know, nothing was going on until she mentioned CMR's name, and then he could get the goods cleared and whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous. As many times as I hear people saying that they have to use CMR's name to get stuff done, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it shows that there are, to your point, there are clearly a lot of failures in the system. That should not be the case.
And a lot of it has to do with, honestly, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's the sad part. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So you know what? I'm right there with you regarding, you know, taking care of people, being honest. It's all about ethics. It's all about reputation. It's all about character. It's all about everything good. But yet we have those few that are bad, that make it look bad for so many others.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. Day. All right, we've got another caller in the line. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sunday.
Good morning. How are you?
When Marva called in a few minutes ago, and she indicated that she had had a bad experience with one of these shipping companies, I held my breath and I said, is this going to be a deja vu moment? And I knew immediately the name of the company she was going to.
Because this was the same one that you had used in relation to your shoes and stuff?
Cayman. This is the same ship Cayman that I contacted you about.
Yeah.
When she said that
I couldn't remember the name of the company. Oh my God.
And they had a good right to be proactive after that. Because you called them, remember calling them? And then after you investigating it, I went to the Director of Customs, Mr. Clifford, and I filed a formal complaint. And they then moved forward with the same company, Ship to Cayman. Ship to Cayman has yet on this day on the day of our Lord, what is today's date anyway? Because I'm retired and I don't even remember days.
July the 9th.
July the 9th in the year of our Lord, 2024. I have never, ever been reimbursed by Ship to Cayman. Ever.
Wow.
Do you know how I was reimbursed? Because the collector of customs and his dedicated staff, because I'm going to give credit where it must be given, they were the ones who reimbursed me, and I collect my check from that ministry. And they told me that they were going to investigate this company because I am not the only person. Marva is not the only person. And the dishonesty continues. The owner of this company is a crook, a wannabe, who has just landed here and is ripping people off.
Wow.
Remember the case now? Ship to Cayman. Orthopedic shoes, the duties they should have waived. They refused to waive the duties. They charged me, I think it was $491. I created a big, storm about it. I got very verbal about it. I threatened them with you. I came to you. I went on the radio.
I remember now.
You contacted them. In fact, then you contacted me and said they said that they would settle. They never settled.
Wow.
And I took it a step further. I went 3 levels further, and they need to be, actually they should be struck off the books. Anybody in the listening audience today that knows who I am, and a lot of people know who I am, and if you are dealing with them, cut them off. They are crooks. They are crooks.
Wow.
So I thought I would jolt your memory, but it was
I could. I mean, there's so many of these types of companies out there. I gotta tell you, there's almost as many of them now as there are bars and restaurants. Because I guess there must be some good money in it. But thank you so much, caller, for refreshing our memories about this. I think that was actually last year sometime, if my memory serves me.
It was on the last year. Yes. So the game continues. And if you go on his Facebook page, bling bling, bling bling. The cars, the jewelry, and yet every turnaround, he's ripping off customers or customers that probably, I know me for one, if he could have closed down because of me, he would have been closed by now because I know I have spread the word about him. So when Marva called, I was like, I know she's going to say ship to Cayman. I had my phone, my hand on the phone, and I said, if she says ship to Cayman, I'm calling Cayman Mall Road.
Lord have mercy. Thank you, caller. I appreciate it.
All right, then.
Well, I don't know who these people are with ship to Cayman, but does not sound like you have a good reputation, none at all. And so this is what I'm going to say to you all. Like I said this morning, the most power that you have, listen, I tell people there's power in the purse strings. You have a choice on who you do business with and where you spend your money. I don't know these people. I've never used them before, but it is obvious that they're not running their business on the up and up. Come on now. This is not a good look for you guys at all. Consumer protection in this country is so lacking. We need a better business bureau. We need consumer protection. We need DCI with the ability to be able to say, we've had X number of complaints against you. You cannot continue to get your business license renewed. But apparently the law, there's no remit under the law for DCI to be able to do that. So this is, again, where you need to go to your MPs and say, excuse me, can we get this level of protection legislatively? Mix and Stir says ship to Cayman is criminal. Lord Jesus. Symphony of the Sea says Cayman needs independence so we can handle corruption our way. Is that a joke? Symphony of the Sea, of the Reef? Only then would you see corruption. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Morning, not bad, dear. How are you?
All right, so like you get your plate full for the morning.
My dear.
Right?
And remember, we only go until 9:30 these days.
you gotta get some eye drop after all this. So you're not be read all the lines.
Yeah, I tell you.
We were talking earlier this morning about the labor law with the employees not being protected on the labor law for hurricanes and other things. We as Caymanians need, or not just Caymanians, but the people that are living and working in the Cayman Islands to wake up and, like you say, go to our MPs and have these laws fixed. But as you can see, the people that control the labor law is like the Chamber of Commerce, and they're the owners, they're the employers for everything. As you can see, the loopholes there are not being plugged in by the people that should be fixing our laws for us.
Yes.
They're just fixing for the consumer, for the employers. Our biggest problem with it is because we got people here from third world countries that will work for little to nothing, and they're signing two. I was told by another employee, not from here, that they actually signed two contracts. One that goes to labor board that is up above the table, and one that is under the table, that where they're paid on minimum wage, $6. No, and they sign agreement that they'll get no overtime, and they agree. This is why Caymanians can't get a job in their own country because of these kind of behaviors.
Yes, but tell me something now, caller. Who are the employers that are doing this?
Well, I don't know call them.
No, I'm just saying. They're Caymanians.
Caymanians and a lot of foreigners too.
Status holders, which by law are Caymanians. So there needs to be some clamping down on this kind of behavior.
And you got and when they take one Cayman, when a Caymanian go to the shop with $1 CI, they only got $1 CI. CUC, they only got $1 CI. When these foreigners that are here that are signing these agreements to keep Caymanians from getting to work, they can take their CI dollar, and some of them, if you check the conversion, their dollar is very high, very, very high in their country. And remember now, their prices in their country is their prices, they're not Cayman prices. And when they can make the boast that they're living better in the Cayman Islands than they would have been in their own country, they got good right, because when their dollar can give them all like 200 rupees and I don't know what other currencies everywhere else. An Indian told me that he took $3,000 and bought 2.5 acres of land, his country, I told him $3,000 probably couldn't buy me a dog shade up in something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why Caymanians are being pushed out of jobs, because they get these people, and of course they will sign the agreement.
Mm-hmm,
they will sign the agreement because they want to work and they don't want to go home. So because they're living better here, and there are people back home living way better than me and you that is born Caymanians. So until we get people and like our MPs and everything that got the guts to go in and say we're going to fix this, but of course, like I say, you got a chamber of commerce, and then that is for the employers and everybody else, the docs and everybody that is got everybody on the hostage.
Well, let me say something in defense of the DART organization, because I know quite a few people that work there, including Caymanians. Most people, when they go there, they're not leaving. They're treated well. They have good salaries, and they don't really have no complaints. So I don't know if you want to lump DART in with that group of bad employers, because I don't think so. A lot of people want to get jobs over there, honey, Jill. All right, my dear. Thank you. We had another caller. 9362626. I mean, what a hot mess. In lieu of a that call, I think the line just dropped, but do call back. In lieu of having no consumer protection really to speak of, and certainly no Better Business Bureau, one of the things that we've been talking about for a while, and I have to get this going really and stop talking about it, is we're going to have a dedicated section on our website. These people that come up on the show, we need to start listing who they are as a company and what the complaints have been about them, so that when you guys Google their names, it'll pop up and you can go read about the complaints right from the CMR page. I mean, it's a watered down version, I suppose, of a Better Business Bureau, but we don't have any options. Glenique, what's the CMR number? 9362626. Most people also have my personal number, which is 324-1612. It's a hot mess, really. Unbelievable. Wow. We're going till 9:30. Someone was asking about the court case. So I went yesterday to, because I was intending today to tell you guys about this court case with another employer who's breaching all sorts of labor laws. But unfortunately, it got put off again. This is about the fourth time now it's been put off. So supposedly Wednesday morning, she will get sentenced. I have all the detailed notes already to go. Once I publish the sentencing story, then we're going to talk about her. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Candy.
Yes, I think the male caller was first. Morning, caller. Yes, sir.
Hello, good.
Yeah, Sandy.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, I am interested in topic today. You know, I think this is where CBC is failing the people. They got all of these complaints that are genuine complaints and not fictitious complaints about these companies. Why don't they go to the legislators and say, listen, something got to be done with these people?
Well, it's a CBC. Well, that's not really CBC's job. What I would say is the legislators, hold on a second now. Let's hold responsible who should be responsible for what. Our legislators sit down and listen to the show every single morning. Don't kid yourself. Y'all see how Julie is obsessed with me. You don't think she listening to the show or her friends listening to the show and telling her what is being said? Or are we electing people who are so not in tune with what's happening in their community that we must rely on a government agency whose job is something totally different to do their jobs for them as MPs? What's the point of having elected officials? Aren't they supposed to be making our lives better? Aren't they supposed to know what the concerns are that we, the people, are actually facing in this country? Where do they live? How long, Mr. Dexter, have we been talking about consumer protection?
Well, we might get results from them now that is into the election year, you know.
I wouldn't hold my breath because apparently we've not gotten, much results in the last 30 years and they keep getting reelected.
But I tell you, I've had so many people get results from from politicians in the election year, because they do not want to lose that vote, and they're going to do everything in their power to get results. But you're right about it. But if the CBC wrote in and said this it has been going on, the legislators would listen more than what is going what the consumer is saying. You know, I don't have the answers, but it's sad. We need consumer protection here. And this guy, I passed I think his office shipped to Cayman is in by the Kentucky Fried Chicken across from the cemetery. That's where his office is located, I think.
Who is that? Sorry.
The ship to Cayman.
Next to where KFC is in that building. I forget what the building where HSBC used to be.
I think that's it. I think I saw it there a couple of days ago.
Yeah. All right, caller. Thanks very much. 4 minutes left in the show. Let's squeeze in as many calls as we possibly can. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Yes, ma'am.
Me again.
Yes.
Calling concern. You're talking about the Consumers Protection Law.
We don't have any, but yes.
The oldest law that the Cayman Islands government is making sure to be enforced. Mandatory, and as you can see, that's not Cayman. There's no Caymanian company. There's not one Caymanian company, because if you check around, you will see who owns the Chamber of Commerce and who owns Saxon and because that's Cayman. That is the foreigners, and they're making sure that their law is protected. Because everybody can make a mistake and forget to pay their pension or whatever. They can make sure that one is enforced, but the one that is benefiting to the employees. They're making sure that they're not worried about the employees. The employers, they worry about to make sure that they take care of their investment, to make sure their investment is protected. So until we get people that are going to protect both sides of the field, we doomed. We doomed, and it's getting worse every day. As you can see, as you heard, we're gonna get 100,000 people. We already passed a long time, but they tell lies about this. Statistics, in my opinion, but we already passed 100,000. You can tell by how many cars on the road. We got more than 100,000 people here, but they're not gonna release. They'll never release the true figures of that statistics, or half the people didn't get sense of 1 to 2. And that's my opinion. But until we get people that are there that are love for country, not know what a country can do for you. You know, they say what you can do for your country. We don't. And so far, we don't have nobody up in there now. They're only for their pockets. It's not what they can do for their country, but what their country can do for them. And everyone is using that as their tool. And until we get people that is the opposite way around, what we need to do is we need, as the voters, need to petition the government to reduce everybody's MLA from the premier straight down to the mess man. The lowest paid salary, they should all be at one salary, and then we will see how much love they got for us. Because you should be working for your country, not your country working for you. But that's what they do. That they all go on there to gain a salary, because someone probably couldn't maintain in their own because there was too much corruption going on elsewhere. That's why they had to go and they found that one a very easy one to make what they got make. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate it. 936-2626. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. This is Mary Lawrence. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Mary. How you doing?
I'm fine, and I'm going to change the subject a little bit.
Okay, I know you were trying to call me yesterday, but I was in court most of the day.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm going to change the subject a little bit. I'm not going to be talking about the people, the employees here. I am going to be talking about how we treat our dearly departed people in Buddentown.
Oh.
I was at a funeral on Saturday in this town, and I have never been so embarrassed and so sad, and so I could not believe the condition of the cemetery in Buddentown. And I've been there many times, and it is not getting any better. I have complained, this is a public appeal to the powers that be to do something about Bodentown Cemetery. They put us in the swamp. That was the first thing they did. All the graves up there are mildewed or got mold on them or whatever. But this has nothing to do with the hurricane. These vaults are being built in the swamp. At that funeral on Saturday, the family could not even get near to where the burial was going to be. The people who were conducting the burial had to put pallets around to get up to seal the grave. People had to walk.
So let me just clarify, because I gotta be honest, I don't really visit graves personally, so I don't have, I don't have a concept of what you're saying here.
The new cemetery, as they call it.
Where is this cemetery located exactly? Why is it in swamp? Like, this is a new cemetery?
This is a new cemetery in Bodentown. It is before you get to Cox, or what it now is. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the issue? Did they not build it up sufficiently enough before?
They haven't built it up at all. They build the graves. They build the vault, and then when you go there that morning, and this had nothing to do with the hurricane, because this was there from weeks before, the water laps against the row of vaults that they have built there. It was mud, it was slime, it was everything. You had to walk, the family had to walk sideways like crabs to put the flowers, their floral tributes on the casket. And then they had to go back halfway up the cemetery to sit down for the minister up there to read by loudspeaker, so the one who was doing the committal at the graveside could hear what he was saying and do the committal at the same time. It was a disgrace. This was a young Bodentown businessman we were burying. And this happens over and over and over in that cemetery. You complain and nobody does anything about it. Oh, they're going to do it. Oh, they're going to do it. But they're not filling.
Now, remind me, who's your MP for Bodentown?
Oh, well, I won't go down that road. You and I both know who the MP for Bodentown is. The bottom line is that no one have gone to, we have complained to the public works, we've complained to everybody we could complain about. But it's just like all the other stuff that's happening in Bodentown. Next door to the church, there's the biggest garbage heap, almost as big as the one down there that Dart is covering up, but nobody does anything about it. The government seems powerless to do anything about it. And down the cemetery, it was the pond water, it smelled so bad, everything. It was a total disgrace. And I could not believe that in our community, where we're supposed to be, everybody toots us, we're the first capital. Well, I tell you something, the people who lived in the first capital knew how to bury their people, because we got those graves there still. But the ones in that cemetery, I tell you, and not only that, they tell you that when you try to buy a vault, if you're going to buy a little block of vaults for your family, you can't do that, you can't reserve. But then you go there and all of these vaults are reserved and you can't use them. The two last rows of vaults that they built are built, that's how they do it, directly in the pond. And when people raise so much cane, then they'll go and they'll throw one little bit of mud right before you get to it. They need to either abandon that site or do the proper things. They need to put in a drainage lake to drain that water away from the cemetery, which can be done. They got 3.5 acres there. They can dig out a drainage lake, but they're not going to do anything like that. All you can hear is, we had a meeting. And I've been told this so many times. We had a meeting and we discussed this and we're going to do something. We're coming, Miss Mary, we're coming, but they ain't get there yet. And it is time. It was there was nobody at that funeral that day that was not upset.
Wow.
Everybody was upset about the situation that these people, this family that has been in Bodentown from time immemorial had to face that day, sitting down, watching their dead being buried, their dearly departed brother being buried in a swamp. It is time for somebody to do something about it. I don't know. Maybe CMR has some more plug than I do, but I can tell you something. If you could go up there and see the condition, that morning, everybody knew there was going to be a funeral there. Somebody had to go there with a blower and blow the debris off of the area where the tents were going to be and the people were going to stand. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And if the powers that be can't do something about it, maybe Boddentown will have to do something about it. And we're going to have 2 options to do that coming up here pretty soon now. So I suggest they go up there and get that cemetery put in order. If they're going to use it, continue to use it. We got high land. We got land on the back road. Since they don't want to use the beach, they got an acre on the beach. Since they didn't want to use that, when you go to Anton Bodden Drive, they spent, I guess, billions. Raising the level of land there, we're going to put in shooting range, and then we're going to put in fire station, and we're going to put in new clinic, and we're going to put in young hospital, and all kinds of stuff. All that land is down there. But no, they're burying Boddentowners in a swamp. And it is time for them to be called to account. If you go by the camera, you'd be horrified.
Well, like I said, I don't really normally go to grave sites, but I might have to pay this one a visit. Thank you so much, Miss Mary. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for giving me my little piece here this morning, because when it comes to Boddentown, we need to start speaking out. I know that there's so many things in this community that nobody's taking care of. There's speeding through here. I went to the meeting the commissioner had up here, and I talked about it. It is like you're spilling words into the air. And, for that particular moment, they give you a satisfactory answer. And boy, when you move away, they say, "Oh, there she goes again." She'll shut up in the next couple of weeks because we just told her we're going to fix it. Nobody fixes anything in this town. And it's time for them to do.
Thank you, Ms. Mary.
That's my way. And thank you for listening. And I hope the powers that be are listening, and that they will get themselves up there before we have another funeral in this community.
Thank you.
Because this has gone too far.
All right, I'm gonna somebody might have to go and help me find this this graveyard, because like I said, I don't go to graveyards, honey child. It would be very unusual for you to see me there. I'll be honest with you, but we're gonna go check this one out, because now I'm curious to see what on earth. So this person who's in the know says this caller is 100% accurate. 18 inches of standing water, same side of the road as police, been wet from June. Prospect Cemetery looks rough as well. You want to hear about a mess for dead people? Ask around about the morgue at HSA. It's not for the funeral homes to maintain the cemetery, but we end up cleaning them all the time. What's going on with the morgue at HSA? What the hell? Somebody says that Troy Worms manages public works for cemeteries. It was bad. I was at the cemetery in the afternoon. The swamp water is actually coming up to the graves. I'll go up there later by the Boddentown beach. Well, take me to the cemetery, honey Jill. Let's make a trip of it. I got to go to court first, so it'll be later on in the afternoon. But let's pay a visit. This person says John thinks that he can give Miss Mary a plaque and keep her mouth shut. Well, he knows now. Thanks, Miss Mary. Keep sweet and keep speaking. Oh my God. Try and hush about John. He's ridiculous. All right. Yes. Somebody else mentioned this chopping that I told you all about earlier. I hear the man got chopped in the head or something. But Troy has 2 staff, and Miss Mary is a star. Thank you so much for that comment. We're going to get on it. I want to go see this for myself, because it seems like I said, the ministers, they pay attention. They, just like with the cones, that minister paid attention and they were gone in the matter of a couple of days. Soka says, you afraid of Dapper? Well, no, honey child, I'm afraid of the living, not the dead. I just don't go to funerals. I mean, I don't tend to go to funerals, and I don't tend to go to graves. I have to really, if you see me show up at a funeral, that's one of the reasons why I could never be a politician, because y'all want every politician to come to everybody's funeral. That's not me, honey child. Sorry. That would not be me. I'd be like, child, you got to read that tribute yourself. I don't know. Funerals are just not something that I go to. They give people the roses before they're dead, child. That's all I tell you. All right. So, listen, before we end the program today, because I got to get to court, I am watching the McKeeva Bush rape trial. I can't say anything about it. Once it's over, I'll give you guys my thoughts and everything that has transpired. We'll put up a story on the website. We'll lock off the comments because what we don't want, it is a jury trial. We don't want you guys commenting on it and then potentially cause a mistrial. And I'll explain to you guys a little bit later on about why this one is different in so many different respects. So I'm going back this morning to sit down and watch it some more. It's important to kind of see and hear what the complainant has to say in her own words. I think in a case like this, it's actually very critical. So once it's over, I'll give you guys the full DL. Tomorrow should be Miss Pars getting sentenced. She got about 5-6 names. You guys will go through that. Thursday, I'm going to be at the Health City at grand opening. So I actually won't have a show on Thursday morning, and then we're back on Friday. I believe tomorrow that Mr. Wayne Panton said that he wanted to pop onto the show to talk about some further aspects of the upcoming changes to the National Conservation Act. We're going to touch on CUC. They were on the agenda for today, but we didn't get to them. We go with the flow of what you guys want to talk about, but we will talk about CUC's contract tomorrow as well, because I do believe that there's some explanation that is required. We got to at least make sure we get our facts straight. Whatever your feelings are, you're entitled to your feelings. You're not entitled to your own facts. You can't just make stuff up. All right. So that's it. Darlene says, John, the moon man. My goodness. I'll feel better, but we'll need to eat. Maybe I can get something to eat unless you're... Oh, is that my friend invite me for lunch? Oh, do not read on air. Okay, I didn't see that part yet. The notification had popped up with just a second message. All right, I'll read it off air. All right, not a problem. Folks, thank you very, very much as always for tuning in to the program. Over 500 people still here on the live stream. 7:30 to 9:30 are news show hours so that I can try to catch court stuff a little bit sooner in the day. Thank you guys so much. Somebody said, oh yeah, it's a Thai orchid day today, boy. Thank you so much for tuning in to the program. And before we go, let me express my condolences. I did not know this gentleman personally, but one of West Bay's own has passed away. And I want to extend our condolences to the family. Hold on, let me get, I don't know what his last name is. You guys might have to help me out here. But do allow me to extend our condolences. He was known in the community. A lot of people seem to have had an affinity towards him. Mr. Hold on, let me get the correct name now. We posted it last night. Mr. Corwell. Rest in peace. Our condolences to your family. What would have been his last name? I don't know who he is, but our condolences does go out to his family. And also Miss Darlene, who is like family here on the show. She is, her funeral is scheduled, and I posted that on our social media page as well. So please have a look and make note that her service is coming up. She passed away on June the 6th, and her celebration of life service will be held at Church of God Chapel on Walker's Road on Saturday, July the 13th at 11 a.m. And it's going to be a closed casket. And I understand that they had repatriated the body back home, wearing bright colors and vibrant colors in honor of Miss Darlene. So caller, good morning.
Morning. I just want to make sure you got that name right. It's not Corwell, it's Corwell.
Corwell.
Yeah, Corwell.
Oh. I wondered the spelling on the thing that we had here, if this was correct. Maybe somebody spelled it wrong.
It's just how we pronounce it.
We just say Corwell.
Corwell, yeah.
Thank you so much, my darling. What's his last name? Do you know?
Probably Evans.
Okay.
Mary should know. Check Mary.
All right, Mr. Corwell, get it right.
That's right.
Honey Chill. You know Caymanians. Oh, he's an Anglin. Miss Bonnet says, Miss Bonnet says he's an Anglin. Kerwell Anglin. May his little heart rest in peace. My Tweetums.
My God.
Yeah, sad. Damien said he was going to guess E-Banks too. Well, not every West Bay is an E-Banks now, yeah.
I know, but
no, that's what Damien said. He's like, I'm going to guess E-Banks. All right, darling. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, Kerwell. Get it right, honey child. He's an Anglin. Soka says I'd rather go to a funeral than a wedding any day. I don't really do weddings either. I know. What a hot mess. Who is this calling me again? Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, everyone at home.
Yes, morning. Yes, ma'am.
I've seen it this morning. It was my heartbeat. I love him so much. I could not cross the street to shop. If I the baker wait on me to even Mississippi, you have any tongue can give me? Oh my God.
And it what?
I felt so sad.
And it what?
He always want his pound, his dollar.
Pound.
Oh my God, he want $1.
My goodness.
He was so sweet regardless. He was harmless.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Oh my gosh.
I seen it this morning, girl. I tell you, I felt so sad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Never mind. We all have to go one day.
Yes. All right, my dear. Thank you so much.
I'm sending you the whiskey or overproof.
Say that again?
I'm sending you a bottle of whiskey or overproof with some Coke.
Oh, because I'm supposed to drink it?
Yeah, you drink that. But speak up if you want it before FedEx leave.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no. All right.
All right. All right. So condolences to him and condolences to his family, I should say. And may he rest in eternal peace. Very, very sad. Boy, the day I have a show where I'm drinking, y'all gonna be in trouble then. Lord Jesus. We might get banned from the airwaves. All right, folks, listen, that's all she wrote. I got to get to court. I got work to do. Please have yourselves a blessed day and be safe on the roadways as always. I haven't even looked outside to see what the weather. I think we might have decent weather today. I don't know. Damon says, so does he have anyone who will bury him? He didn't have family? I mean, if he's in England, there's a lot of Anglins in West Bay. So I'm sure. God bless Corwell. He was an awesome guy in West Bay, keeping everyone in check, says Symphony of the Reefs. So again, our condolences to his family. All right. Thank you very, very much, folks. Lots of tidbits coming in. I appreciate all of you. Please have a beautiful day. And I will see you guys, God willing, tomorrow morning at 7:30. So new show time, 7:30 to 9:30. And yeah, be good. All right, that's all she wrote. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.